People in the village of Dolton voted to kick the mayor out of office.
Father God, we come to you this afternoon asking you for a successful passing of our 2022 budget. We ask these things in your son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Little did she know how much she was going to need that prayer. Hi, you guys. Welcome back. And we are continuing with my Tiffany Henyard saga I'm dubbing The Road to Recall, where we look back over previous board meetings and try to identify certain situations that led up to the trustees wanting to recall Tiffany Henyard. I do have 6 previous episodes on my channel in a playlist regarding this same subject if you guys want to go check those out too. So our first clip has to do with Trustee Tammy Brown discussing the possible selling of a certain village property. Let's watch.
Next, we have Melody Fitness, Trustee Brown.
Good evening, all. Just want to give an update on the Melanie Fitness Center. As of December 2021, we are $51,019.31 in the negative for Melanie Fitness Center. I know we also spoke on possibly getting a appraisal done. We did have an appraisal back in 2017, and that was from CBRE Incorporated. And I did speak to Keith Freeman, Administrator Keith Freeman, about getting an updated appraisal report. I know that the Park District is also interested in possibly purchasing that property, but an appraisal is needed for that property. So definitely we'll reach out to Administrator Freeman and see where he stands as to an appraisal getting done on that property. So he was forwarded the information he needs to. He did get an appraisal person from me, and he also will get an appraisal for commercial property from Trustee Norwood. So we definitely will be moving forward with that process of getting that property appraised and possibly out there to see if that property can be sold. That is the end of my report for this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, you guys. So Melody Fitness Center has been around for a while, and it was named after one of the previous mayor's daughters, but unfortunately it hasn't been thriving. So it hasn't really been bringing in any real revenue. And so Trustee Tammy Brown is just trying to suggest, how they can sell the property, get it appraised, get something in there that can start generating revenue for the village. So let's hear what Tiffany has to say.
Right. And just to add to what you stated, we already did an appraisal on that. I know myself and another trustee was dealing with that situation in the past. So I don't think we should waste more money and do another appraisal. The appraisal is still good. So you guys should just pull that appraisal. You can pull it through Allison Key, and it's already on file. So we don't have to waste any more money.
When was the appraisal completed?
That could have been 2 years ago. I believe it was 2 years.
2017.
Right. So appraisals are only good on commercial property for 1 year. Correct, okay. Trustee Norwood?
Yeah, because Mayor, the market has just changed from 2017. So I definitely suggest that we get an updated appraisal because everyone knows it's a seller's market. So right now the values are up as opposed to 2017.
Okay. So I guess my thing to everyone would be to make sure you have an offer, not waste money. If y'all don't even have an offer on the property currently right now, that would be my suggestion to everyone. So I will talk to the attorney and I'll talk to the village as well as relates to that. But
the only reason why we asked for an appraiser, a possible buyer is interested and would like an appraisal. So that's the only reason why I asked for an appraisal.
No, that's fine. But we don't pay for anyone's appraisal. They pay for their own appraisal if they really, truly want to come to the village. We're not going to tell them what it appraised at anyway. Their job is to make a proposal and give it to the village and tell us what they would like to offer to us. We do not spend money to help them give us money. No.
Yeah. So Mayor, just so
wait a minute, hold up, Brittany. The only appraisal was done so that we would know when we do make that offer. So that's why I asked for an appraisal. Right. But if things are going to go in that direction, then that's fine. But I knew Jason had sent me that one for 2017. And when I talked to Trustee Norwood, she suggested that 2017 is almost 4 years ago. So that's the reason why.
Okay, so we could talk offline to go back and forth over it just to cut down on the time of it. But I still suggest we do not do another appraisal. You guys can go back to the same appraisal company and they can revise the numbers for you, but that's a waste of money. So I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll move forward.
So you guys, I don't know anything about real estate or anything, but I did look up what she said about appraisals being only good for 1 year on commercial properties. And I found information that said it's usually good for 6 months, and sometimes it can go a little bit further if it's been updated. So she was being kind of generous with the 1 year appraisal being good, but we're talking about a property that hasn't been appraised in 4 years. Okay. But as we see, Tiffany Henyard is not with this. She's just basically shutting it down. Now, why is she shutting this idea down? And it seems like a pretty good idea, seeing as how this is a property, this is a business that hasn't really been bringing in any real revenue. And now the trustees are trying to figure out something to do with it. And I honestly feel like Tiffany is giving pushback because she wants to take the credit for whatever changes and whatever improvements happen around Dolton. Like, she wants to take on all of the credit. All right. But we know she doesn't want the responsibility. And that's another story. So that's what I feel like she's shutting down this idea from the trustees, because if we fast forward to nowadays, we see that her plans all along was to try to make one half of the building into a police station and then the other half into a community center. But she wanted to take the credit for that after it was all said and done. Where she messed up and she put the cart before the horse is she brought the $50,000 sign before everything was approved, before the blueprints were even drawn up. It was just a hot mess. And now there's an empty building there. Melanie Fitness is no longer open. And then the other side of the building is empty with a police sign on it. And it's a disaster. And so if we listen to her, she mentioned, when she was a trustee, she had ideas on what to do with that, and she dealt with that with the other trustees.
Right. And just to add to what you stated, we already did an appraisal on that. I know myself and another trustee was dealing with that situation in the past. So
I feel like she holds on to things, and she has a lot of resentment of, oh, I always try to make changes and now they're going to try to come in and steal my thunder. I think that's how she views it. What do you guys think? Because we all know and we can all see she wants to take the credit for doing everything when we know that's just not possible. No one person is responsible for improvements in a whole village. All right. Okay, so let's move on because there's a couple of more examples in this board meeting that I wanted to show you guys. But let's start off with Tiffany, banging her gavel. And I think this might be the first time she does it. Let's watch.
Next,
We'll move forward. I'll get with you and we can set a date. We can sit down and talk about it. Thank you.
We move forward. Point of order. Thank you.
Yeah, point of order, you guys. You guys are out of order. You're out of control, okay? She just had to assert her authority, okay, in case you guys didn't know. Let's move on to Trustee Ed Steves because he has some issues going on during this meeting. Let's see how Tiffany handles it.
I got a question for a department head. May I be recognized?
We're done with the reports right now, trustee. So if you want, you can email it to them or text them to go over it.
Can the host stop muting me, please? Whoever the host is, stop muting my mic.
So they just told you guys if you're not recognized or nothing going on, everything will be muted so we can move on with our agenda. If you have hold on, trustee. If you have any questions for any department heads or anyone on here, you guys can email them so we can move forward with our agenda.
If only thing about that, I asked a question to the department, I don't get the answer. We asked about the amnesty program 5 times already with the water department. We haven't got the answer, nobody. So we wait for a public meeting. We haven't got that answer from Mr. Moore yet.
Okay, so again, if you saying you haven't gotten any answers as relates to things from any department, I always tell you guys, and I'll say it again, call my phone. I tell y'all that always. So when we don't have to get here to this board meeting, you say that someone did not give you any information. I cannot address nothing if I don't know about it. So again, I'm directing you to basically either call me, send an email, call Keith Freeman. He's been very open to everybody here on this board, and everyone talks to everyone. So it's not a problem. So just if you could use any one of them outlets.
Yeah, Trustee Steves, you should just listen to her. It's not a problem, okay? Obviously, if she's saying it's not, then it's not. If she's saying she's communicating, her staff is communicating, you can just call her, okay? Well, you know what? She used to say the same thing as a trustee, okay? Call me, my phone number, blah, 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 blah. If you guys have ever watched any of the older board meetings, you guys know. But one resident did put her on blast for always advertising her phone number and saying to call her. Let's go ahead and watch that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Naomi LaPresto, and I'm the person that keep texting you and you don't answer. And I'm the person that keep calling you. You're the person that I keep calling, you never answer. I text you, you don't answer. So that's why I said to you, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I ask you to stop giving out your number if you're not going to answer people. Okay?
Okay, well, I apologize if I didn't answer or respond to you.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, I think that's the first and last time you'll ever hear Tiffany Henyard apologize and semi-admit that she did something wrong. Isn't that crazy? Well, she was a trustee at the time, so she hadn't reached her final goal yet as being mayor, even though she says she never wanted to be mayor, which I really don't believe. But yeah, as we can see, as a trustee, she did everything in her power to prove to the residents that she was there for them, okay? Even as scary as it sounds, apologizing, right? Crazy. All right, let's go ahead and get back to this board meeting because there's no apologies there.
I should be able to ask the department head a question. I asked him to come to my meeting. He didn't come. I asked him a few times. I asked Keith about the amnesty. Stop unmuting me. I'm talking right now. Whoever the host, stop unmuting.
Okay, so
finish my point.
Trustee,
I'm done.
your point is noted. We're gonna just move forward. If you could, you and I can talk after the board meeting to get whatever address that you need. So next we have corporate bills, Jason House. Trustee.
Okay, well, now I was confused. Trustee Steve, were you finished with your point? I will yield my time to him if he had.
Yeah, I was finished, but they keep unmuting me.
Right. Point of order, guys. Point of order. So what I'm stating is that we would address any of his concerns after the meeting. I would like to move forward with the agenda so we can move forward with the corporate bills. Trustee House, you have the floor.
So, Mayor, I'm going to pause for a moment because I understand what you're saying, and we all want to get through the agenda. But I feel that we're going to waste more time having these discussions versus just actually asking a question and addressing it. So okay. That's why I chose to yield my time. And should I do so? I think that is completely inconsiderate to just mute somebody during their speech.
So yeah, the host is just muting people like in the middle of their sentence. It's not funny because, it was hard enough for them to do these Zoom meetings. But then when you add into it someone there muting people on purpose while they're trying to talk. And I am pretty sure, I can almost bet on it, that host was given direction from Tiffany Henyard. Just mute them. If they're talking and it's not their turn, just mute them. Okay, Robert Rule of Order. Because she's always throwing Robert's Rules of Orders up there saying everyone's not following them. And she's the only one that follows them, apparently, even though we've seen her continuously interrupt the old mayor. And even in up-to-date meetings, like over at Thornton Township, she'll interrupt the trustees when they're trying to talk if it's something that they don't agree with her on. So like I've mentioned before, the hypocrisy is strong with this one, okay? It was and it still is. But let's go ahead and get back to this board meeting, and then I'm going to show another example of how the trust between Tiffany Henyard and the trustees, just kept deteriorating. Deteriorating, you guys. That's one of those words I struggle with, okay? But I'm going to work on it, and we're going to get it right, okay? Let's get back to this meeting, though.
So if Trustee Steve is done, I will proceed with corporate bills. However, that was my reason for yielding.
Okay, point of order. Once again, we're going to move forward to the corporate bills. We're not going to have a debate or discussion as relates to question Q&A. If anyone have any questions, I'm telling you guys the proper way to handle it so that we can take care of the business here at the board meeting and not put on a show as relates to back and forth. So if anybody have any questions, you can reach out to Keith Freeman or myself to address any concern anyone has. So him asking him a question or going back and forth is not going to get anything accomplished tonight. So if you would call my phone or call Keith or email Keith, and we will address anything that any board member has moving forward. So right now we are on corporate bills.
So Mayor, is your stance that the board is not allowed to speak with department heads?
It is not, trustee, and I'm not about to do that with you. I'm not about to go back and forth. So is you going to move forward? I need to call on someone else to go over the corporate bill, sir.
I just wanted an answer to the question. That was all, Mayor.
It's been answered and we moving forward. So here we go. Point of order. Move on. We on corporate bills.
We don't help. Hold on.
Oh, no, Trustee Steves, we're not about to do that tonight. Trustee House, we're not about to do that.
Okay, so maybe let's have this whole conversation. Can I motion that we go to executive session to discuss the proper way, so that way we're not here?
No, we're not. We're about to move on to corporate business.
We're either going to motion to go in.
Either going to motion to go into executive session,
Or motion to adjourn.
We'll adjourn the whole meeting.
But that's on you guys. We still have to take care of the business at hand, which is pay the bills. Because everyone throws tantrums, people get mad. Y'all got to be adults.
So in my opinion, this is where she really messed up, okay? Because if they weren't that mad before, they're definitely mad now. She essentially just called them big babies, all right? She's telling grown men that they're throwing tantrums when their concerns are valid, because the host keeps muting their mics. And like I said before, these Zoom meetings are probably a hassle to deal with anyway. But what is she doing? She's throwing their concerns out the window and she's saying, whatever, we're going to move on. You can call my phone, call Keith, email, when we know that doesn't work. It didn't work then and it doesn't work now.
We can't sit here and say,
So my motion is to go in executive session. May I ask for a second?
You out of order, Trustee.
Second.
You're out of order.
I'm second.
We're not going to sit here and keep pausing when everyone gets upset about something. We move on with the business. I'm telling you guys, I'm going to answer whatever questions you need. Don't come to a board meeting and do this. This is what we do because people don't get their way. So
You've been the queen of doing petty stuff since you've been in office.
we're not about to do that. Are we moving on to corporate bills?
No, we're not moving on to corporate bills. We're going to make a motion to it.
Okay, well, go ahead. Go right ahead.
Can the host stop muting me while I'm speaking?
Oh, go ahead.
Disrespectful as hell.
What's your motion?
Stop muting me.
Well, you guys, this board meeting is turning into a dysfunctional family function, okay? Needless to say, it doesn't get any better. They end up going into closed session to discuss the issues just because it just went downhill from there. And, you know, we got stubborn Tiffany Henyard. She doesn't want to bring it together. She doesn't want to be the leader at this point in time. She wants to argue back and forth with the trustees. And the trustees are upset. So that meeting was a wash. Let's go ahead and move on to my last example as to why the trust between them two just dwindled away over time, within a short time, actually, you know, not too long after she was a mayor. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next clip.
Total corporate payments on this register, $1,755,612.92. I would motion that we pay registers 192 and 196 collectively. However, I do have 6 items that I would like to remove from this warrant list until we get a chance to inspect the invoices.
So you guys, if you're not familiar with what's going on, what's happening is that they're going over the warrant list, which is just a list of monthly bills that they get and that they have to vote on at these board meetings. So what Jason is doing is he's taking some of these bills off the list. Let's see the reason for that and let's see what Tiffany has to say.
So my motion is to pay the bills with the exception of those 6 items until we have the opportunity to review the invoices that were emailed to me at 5:00 this evening.
So the Board of Trustees, I don't have the date exact, approved $5,000 to be paid for the fireworks. We only paid $3,000. So we owe them $2,000. So we approved this in the beginning when we first started with the fireworks. So I don't understand what's the reason for removing the $2,000 that's owed to them?
I'm sorry, that's for me, Mayor?
Yeah, you the one making a motion to remove it, so I don't know who else.
The 4th of July festivities exceeded $5,000.
So you guys, Jason is saying, hey, we paid more than $5,000 on the festivities alone. So that $5,000 and whatever money she's trying to recoup is gone. And the reason why this is happening right now is because Tiffany Henyard has been spending money left and right from the very beginning. Okay, we know she spends money like crazy now. It's not her money, but she was doing it back then. And one of her ways to circumvent, you know, the policies put in place as to how much she can actually spend is to, you know, talk to the attorney and figure out creative ways to spend the money. Like this, for instance. Let's watch.
Okay, so we are responsible for paying for anything at inauguration. The reason being is it was an actual legal board meeting. So anything that we acquire as an expense, we can pay for it. It's legal. I can also have the attorney chime in if you like to give the legal explanation of why the village is at risk of paying for inauguration. Attorney?
Okay, was it not a board vote or no? It didn't need to be approved or no?
No, but I'm gonna let her speak to you. So give her
Okay.
So we reviewed the local ordinances and rules, and there is a special event fund that already accommodates these types of events. And because it was a public meeting and it was catered to the public, I understand, I believe one of the invoices was actually the food invoice for the food vendor. This was no different than any other special event that was approved by the village. It was a public board meeting, and that's why it would be appropriate. And there's a prior appropriation for these expenses in your budget for the special events. And you had public attendees, and you basically fed the public, and it was conducted in the proper manner. So that's why it would be okay for you to approve the expenditures related to that meeting.
So what they were talking about here is Tiffany was getting the village to pay for her inauguration. Okay. And it's been said multiple times by multiple people that that's what her campaign funds are for. Okay. So whatever she acquired during her campaign funds are supposed to help pay for her inauguration. But the attorney was able to word it and present it like it was an actual like village function, since, you know, the public was there, they fed the public. So then the village was responsible for paying for her inauguration, which I really don't see how that should go on the taxpayers. You know, that was her campaign. So that right there is another reason where the mistrust came from. Let's watch this next example.
From my understanding, anything above $5,000 has to come before the board. But when special events, you're saying that we can spend that money before it's actually approved if it's over $5,000? Is that what the attorney's saying? Over $5,000 that needs board approval, but we can spend that before we actually approve it.
Well, that's what I was saying. If it does it require prior approval under your local ordinance for a special event? There was nothing that I saw that required prior approval, but each of these expenses were under the $5,000, and that's why we're bringing it to the board currently to approve those individual expenses.
So this is why they're at where they are today, and why in this board meeting I was just showing you guys the trustees are not wanting to pay for those fireworks, okay? Because what we really just saw is the attorney explaining how Tiffany Henyard was breaking up the invoices, okay? So none of them went over $5,000, but she was still spending money. And what the attorney is also saying is that there's a special events budget that Tiffany has that she can just spend willy-nilly and do whatever she wants with. But this is something the trustees didn't know. I believe that's something they went ahead and added in later on into the budget. But what also makes matters worse is that the budget wasn't even completed at that time. So this just gives us an idea of the history of how Tiffany started spending right out the gate, and then she always tried to find clever ways with the attorneys to circumvent the policies that were already put into place and the ordinances that were put into place to kind of curb the spending of the mayor. All right, you guys, let's get back to this board meeting and let's see what happens with those fireworks and all those other bills on the warrant list.
So there were some additional funds that were paid on the last warrant list that exceeded the $5,000. So that's the reason for removal of this item.
Okay, so what items was overexceeded? Because nothing overexceeded anything. Money was donated to pay people. The only thing that we had was the $5,000. So can you tell me what's exceeded?
What I will do is, for that one, because I think this was discussed in the last meeting as well. So I will gather the items and I'll send you a detailed listing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't discussed in the last agenda. So I'm asking why you guys not paying the med bomber? The problem y'all had was when it was $7,000 for the $5,000 and the $2,000 that we owed. So we decreased it to $2,000, which is the $2,000 that we owe from when we paid them from the beginning. We only put down a deposit of $3,000. So we still owe $2,000 to med bomber. So that's that one. And then what's the third one?
Delgado Law Group, $32,589 on page 10.
Okay, and what's the reason that you don't want to pay the prosecutor?
My reason for all of these items is I requested the invoices for these for review on Friday, and I did not receive the invoice until 5 o'clock this afternoon. So I'm just seeking time to review them and assuming that everything looks compliant, then we'll resubmit it for payment.
Yeah, everything's compliant. We never done anything wrong that you can't pay bills. But when would you be guys paying these bills?
But my ask would be that we get the invoices and the information a little bit more timely, so that way we can move forward with the information in hand.
Okay, so let's back up because I see where this is going.
All right, so you guys, this is where she tries to convince the trustees that, hey, you should pay the bills regardless of how late you got the invoice information, okay? Because you guys know we have to pay these bills, blah, blah, blah. You guys have heard it over and over again, but it's the same outcome, right? And why is that? Because there's questionable bills on the warrant list and the fact that they just didn't get the information in time. So yeah, the trustees should not be voting on items they still have questions on that haven't been answered. And what makes this even more interesting is that because Tiffany Henyard used to be a trustee, for all you guys that don't know, and when she was presented with items that she didn't get the proper information on at the board meetings, do you think she would just go ahead and vote blindly? Let's see how she used to deal with the previous mayor when his administration didn't give her the information she requested. Let's watch.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes. I got 3 questions for, I guess, Chris. Are you available to go over this with me? Okay. I'm looking at, what page is this? Page 8. For Lewis, he had $650. What was the services for?
1 sec, I'm looking for Lewis.
$650 from May 2020 to August 2020.
What's your question? What were the services for?
Yeah.
I don't have the invoice in front of me. I know it's from May through August is the time period. If you want the actual invoice, I can have that scanned over to you.
Yeah, I want to know what we're paying people for. And then underneath there, the Sony Black Productions for video editing, $3,250. What video editing are we doing for that kind of money? What projects was authorized for that and who authorized it?
Those are for various events that were recorded. The details of which events I don't have in front of me, but those invoices can be emailed.
Okay. Well, I think I asked in the past, like, if y'all could be a little more detailed when y'all give us this, so I don't have questions when we get here, because that's a lot of money to me for video editing. So if you can give me that, I will appreciate that.
That really don't need to be cut down.
Mayor, you got a whole speech, and I had one question. Why did you guys not give me what I was asking for, or the board? The board asked for it, I asked for it.
Well, you know,
he gave it to you and you said you went and looked at it. You could have called us, emailed it to everybody. We wouldn't even be discussing this right now. We'd be past this if you just gave us what we asked for.
Yeah.
So you guys get the point. She knows how this is supposed to go. But now that she's mayor and she wants everything done her way, she's going to act all brand new, okay? She's going to act like she doesn't know how it goes. She's always telling them, just call my phone. When we just saw her as a trustee telling the mayor, oh, you could have just called us, emailed us, and then we wouldn't have to go through this in the board meeting. Such double standards, okay? And so you guys, I think I've given enough examples in this video as to why Tiffany Henyard was on the road to recall in the beginning of her mayoral tenure, okay? You know, like I said from jump, she broke down communications between the residents and the members of the board by changing the citizens' address to only comments and not answering questions. And then she broke down the communication between her administration and the trustees by telling her administration not to answer their questions, but that they needed to call her. I don't know what his obsession is with people calling her, but obviously people just don't want to call her. All right, you guys, I feel like this video is long enough, so we're going to go ahead and end it here today. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe.
Because my goal as an elected trust official is to make informed decisions. If I don't have enough information, I feel as if I don't have enough information to make that decision.
And I got one statement. This for all department heads. When anybody on this board asks you for anything, I need you guys to deliver it. We shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks into another board meeting to ask you guys for something we asked 2 weeks ago. That is my issue. My trust is gone, and that's a problem for me because you're the department head. So when you tell us something, we vote on exactly what you guys say because you're the department head. So I need you guys to get that in order before you come across this board, any department head. End of my statement.
I feel as if I shouldn't have a problem speaking with any department head.
The
You
reason,
was brushing me off by just
No,
saying
ma'am.
$1,000
No.
because 2 lawnmowers don't cost $1,000. And then, secondly, you said you didn't know who signed for this invoice, and it clear as they say Matt Stacy, superintendent, for $3,400. And I could have sworn the board passed something stating that you could not go over $1,000 without board approval.
right.
Okay, so how did you manage to do that?
Are all the bills on the warrant list that was provided to us Friday, have those already all been paid?
Yes. Yes.
I just think those should not have been paid without a proper approval.
I, as your leader, decided to make sure that all bills got paid. I did not use anyone's stamp. I don't have to. I didn't need to. Bills got paid with Tiffany Henyard's name on the paychecks that go out to our police officers. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot pay a bill because you choose to. The entire body have agreed to not pay that one particular vendor. So what I'm saying, or what I'm asking as a trustee, is that you report to your board. That's the structure, that's the order that you ignore every time. So what I'm asking you, if you want something paid, put it before your board